Picture this. You're in a bar getting drinks with a friend. A well-dressed groom guy steps beside you and orders a drink politely. You tell your friend, "Hey, he's kind of cute. I'm going to ask him for his number." Your friend gives him a look up and down and turns to you to say, "No, don't bother. He's definitely gay." The image of what a gay guy is has been very well defined. He is sassy. He is feminine. He frequently uses the words fabulous and honey. He has a dramatic personality. He is born biologically male. And he is white. We have been taught by the media how to identify a gay male because the stereotype of what gay appears like has been repeatedly reinforced by the same narrative and the same generic character. This is Kurt from Glee, Will and Jack from Will and Grace, Marco from Degrassi, Austin from Ugly Betty, and Andrew from Desperate Housewives. Professor at Northeastern University, Suzanne Downa-Walters, claimed that TV has become our national cultural meeting place. It is a site of profound social meaning and effect. Watching TV has been found to be the most popular American pastime. The average American spends 147 hours a month watching TV. The theory of cultivation hypothesizes that audiences, especially young and impressionable ones, who watch a lot of TV, follow more stereotypical behaviors. When young people lack knowledge of particular groups, they are more likely to adopt gendered stereotypes, and many people do not have information about homosexuality present in their own environments, so they rely on the media's depictions. Over the last 30 years, there's been a dramatic rise in LGBT presence in television, but this coverage has been exclusive to white and mostly male storylines. LGBT people of color are just as invisible as they were 30 years ago. This monolithic media landscape, where gay double minorities are not represented, creates a perception that LGBT people of color do not exist, and prevents LGBT people of color from having the equivalent rights and protections as their straight counterparts. The GLAAD network publishes an annual report called Where Are We in TV?, reviewing the quality and quantity of LGBT representation on television to keep the media accountable. In their 2011 report, they found that CBS, the most watched network, had 134 characters on their programming, and only one identified as LGBT. In 2012, 2.9% of all television characters were LGBT. Approximately 4% of the population identifies publicly as homosexual, according to the Human Rights Campaign of 2012. The quantity of LGBT fictional characters on TV is close, but the problem is that there is prevalent lack of diversity that does not accurately portray the real LGBT community. According to the 2012 census, a third of the American population identifies as African American, Hispanic, or Asian, and roughly the same portion of the openly gay population is thought to be ethnic. In 2007, a content analysis was conducted on primetime television homosexual characters and plotlines. They found that most homosexual content was seen in a humorous manner and often portrayed in a negative or stereotypical light. Homosexuality is ridiculed, and the political status of LGBT community is undermined by turning discrimination into a joke. Additionally, in many TV shows, the narrative of the homosexual character is principally told through the heterosexual understanding and acceptance of their sexuality and lifestyle. Their sexuality is presented as a difficulty that is overcome by heterosexual characters. In Degrassi, when Marco comes out as gay, the storyline emphasizes how this revelation affects Marco's friends and how they begin by treating him differently, but then learn not to. Similarly, when popular TV personality Ellen publicly confessed, her coming out was framed as a problem to be overcome by her friends and family. The heterosexual characters are central to the homosexuality's plotline and are needed to validate their identity. LGBT individuals who are also racial or ethnic minorities are a multiply marginalized population who face both the social-economical implications of their race profiles and the stigma of their sexual orientation. In the media, ethnic groups are often used as a source of social problems. Ethnic minorities are frequently featured as agents of terrorism, domestic criminals, or just characters of deviance. Even if not overtly racist, modern racism has evolved to take a cultural form, which emphasizes on the cultural differences between whites and non-white ethnic groups. This reigns in us and the vitality, which divides lines between normal and abnormal characters. Minorities are presented as groups who pose a threat to the challenges of the normal ways of life. Throughout the year, we have discussed public space as a conceptual area where some people are included and some people are selectively excluded to maintain a perceived level of comfort and peace. The public space in the media is a case study of this. Funded by advertisers who aim to appeal to the audiences, the media generally presents information through the lens of middle-class professionals because this is the audience with the most purchasing power due to their size and level of disposable income. The way reality is portrayed is under the potent influence of businesses and their interests. In order to appeal to this audience and their traditional ideologies, the mass media curriculum remains relatively conservative. Progressive groups are restricted to a fairly narrow range of appearances and situations. These groups, perceived as the other, are likely to be lumped together as if they were a completely homogeneous group who don't have the same level of complexity of the normal characters that are like us. Representations of middle-class characters are more complex and relatable, while lower-class or marginalized groups are tied to narratives of being the problem and the source of distress and conflict. This is another example of how capitalist interest of profit-driven advertising shapes our culture at the expense of marginalized groups who are ostracized from the popular public space to conform to conservative values. The entertainment media has the power to teach the public about societal groups, especially the ones audiences do not have much prior experience with. Their presentation of the selected stories they decide to and decide not to tell create a public image for the social group they represent. As minority groups struggle to achieve acceptance and awareness of their identities and issues, the media influences not only how others view them, but how they view themselves. More multi-dimensional ethnic characters with plotlines that show who they are as a person and their distinct purposes in life would put LGBT characters on the same playing field as homosexual characters who have multiplicity in their wants and desires. This creates an important step forward for the LGBT community, especially for their ethnically diverse members.